In the most recent season of Bob's Burgers, we're confronted with a theory that most people refer to as the placebo effect. When Louise is trying to reconcile with an ambitious Mr. Frond who is acting suspicious. It's Mr. Frond's intention to move his career forward with a new innovative personality test disguised as a game. This game randomly spits out information about the test taker. Information that is so far off from the way we understand the characters. Due to this inconsistency with their normal behavior, students start behaving in ways that are consistent with the results and abandons their former social behaviors. Louise astutely notices this shift in behavior and labels the machine as producing something known as a placebo effect. If you're new to Bob's Burgers Chronicles, welcome to my channel, dedicated to everything you might think about related to our favorite television show. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you for your support. I have noticed all the new subscribers and wonderful comments you have been leaving, and I'm overwhelmed with gratitude for your positive reception. Reading how you have been healed and what you have learned from Bob's Burgers is such a delight, and I enjoy reading all of your comments. In my last video, I discussed how color is used in Bob's Burgers, and how each character could correspond with different colors and chakras, and you seemed to really like that idea. I'm taking a slightly new direction. This video will be the first of a series where I explore different theories that Bob's Burgers has used in episodes to guide a plot. I'll kick off this series with an episode from the most recent season. So what is a placebo effect? Normally, the placebo effect is used during the process of medical treatments to mitigate pain or help patients create stronger connections with the treatment to encourage a desired outcome. According to an article by the Harvard Medical School, placebo cannot change a person's diagnosis in a serious clinical condition, like cancer or diabetes. But it can help patients in modulating the way their brain reacts to the perception of pain due to undesirable symptoms that come with certain medicines. There is a curious underside of this theory that most people are not familiar with, which is called a nocebo effect. This word derives from Latin, meaning I shall harm, and is oddly the thing that we normally attribute to when we hear the term placebo. The power of suggestion is a double-edged sword, because although doctors want their patients to have little to no pain, they are required to give them a list of side effects that accompany pain medication, like headaches, addiction, nausea, and more. However, by telling them this information, they are in turn making it more likely they will experience those side effects. The example the article provides is if a doctor tells their patient that medication for a treatment has the potential to give a patient headaches as a side effect, it is more likely that it will cause them to have headaches. This is known as the nocebo effect. And what Louise notices in the first episode of the 15th season is the placebo effect. So let's dive into what's happening in this episode in a bit more detail, and how to spot the placebo effect. From the start, we're given a few different plots to follow, making this a great way to start off the new season. We're given the waning interest of Tina's news segment, Linda and Bob lying to Teddy about horror movies, and Mr. Frond's bizarre new personality testing technology. These three ideas all confront a similar issue: deceiving someone in hopes they will start to overcome undesirable behaviors. The success of Mr. Frond's lie is built into the idea that he created a video game. And on the surface, the technology is like a game, but it is subversively manipulative. And when the students are done playing the game in a specific way, it gives them a bizarre personality type and behavioral definition that they walk away with, allowing them to think this is the way they should behave in the future. So why is this unethical? and how does it relate to things we have seen in real-world current events? The placebo effect is known as a self-fulfilling prophecy, and I'll dive into this phenomenon in a later video with more detail, and use a different episode to illustrate that concept. But the general idea is a feedback loop that enables us to behave differently when we allow other people's beliefs about us to affect our actions. In this episode, Mr. Frond is wearing an outfit that may seem like he is dressed like the iPhone creator Steve Jobs. But I'm going to challenge that and say he's actually dressed as Elizabeth Holmes. Holmes, back in the early 2000s, was the CEO of the company Theranos. She falsely claimed to have created innovative technology that could take a small amount of blood to do several tests that identify abnormalities in order to help high-risk patients discover medical diagnoses for things like cancer, diabetes, and more. However, due to rushed financial security and a lack of proper medical resources, her innovation was never actualized, and it resulted in fraudulent activity and her being incarcerated for deceiving people and potentially causing irreversible damage to patients. This is deeply unethical, and it would be considered a nocebo, because she knowingly did not give patients a proper diagnosis, and she did harm while simultaneously instilling them with false confidence or doubt. Mr. Frond is being depicted as having a similar ambitious drive, with good intentions, but was poorly executed due to a lack of proper resources and a rushed timeline, creating a perfect parallel between these ideas. The personality game he developed similarly was not producing information that adequately informs students of who they are. And on the surface, it might seem like this is harmless in theory, but in practice, it denies the students, as the test taker, the ability to learn from their personality and act on that feedback. But instead, they learned completely inadequate information and started behaving differently altogether. The importance of personality tests is to understand who we are and learn from that information in a way that is consistent with the way we already behave, so we can make long-term goals about altering aspects of our behavior that we are not completely comfortable with. Let me clarify that we should always be authentic with ourselves, but there are always things that we can work on. I'll use an example from the episode to explain what I mean. When Tammy is told that she is generous, she put on a pretense that she is generous, rather than learning the reality of her personality, which is that she can be a bit self-centered and lacks humility for others. She didn't learn from that information, and instead just pretended that she was generous. But due to this feedback loop, she never actually learned how to be generous. She just acted like she was to fulfill the prophecy that she set out for herself through the personality test results. This is how the placebo effect actually works. We're given information, and we act in a way that makes that information become a reality. It was important for Louise to explain this to her friends, and Tina became her mouthpiece. And as I stated in my last video about color and chakras, Tina is the throat and gives the family a voice, and Louise is the heart, guiding us to the truth. As a person who has studied the social sciences for many years of my life, I find the idea of personality tests to be really interesting, and they give us great insight into who we are and how we can grow as individuals. It's okay to look at ourselves and want to be better. I have come to see my personality as a garden that is always growing and changing. And sometimes things will go away, and other times things will pop up that I don't like. So it's my job to consistently be maintaining and watering my garden and keeping an eye on it so that I don't have surprises when something triggering happens. Let me know if you enjoyed my take on the placebo effect in this episode by leaving a comment and hitting the like button. I love making these introspective videos on Bob's Burgers. Until next time, thank you for liking, subscribing, and enjoy the show.